Hello once again, I am Cosmic, and today we're going to talk about DLC. Now the game in the background is Batman Arkham City, and I'm going to be using the upcoming Batman Arkham Knight as a prime example of how bullshit DLC is. So recently it came out that Batman Arkham Knight is going to have a absolute ton of pre-order and retailer exclusive DLC, which is utter bullshit, and it is a symptom of a growing disease in the industry of how publishers, particularly AAA publishers like Warner Brothers, like Square Enix, like EA, are chopping up games content, and this is the core content, mind you, and selling it as pre-order retailer exclusive DLC, even though it is actually part of the core game. It is twisting what DLC is, and it is completely anti-consumer. So if we take a look at Batman Arkham Knight DLC specifically, we have a list of things that is taking place. So all pre-orders are going to get the Harley Quinn story pack, which means you get to play as Harley Quinn and access all her story missions, which is character and story content locked behind a pre-order paywall. That is ridiculous. And then we get on to the even worse, which is retailer exclusives. Now this one just pissed me off even more. So you have GameStop exclusive, which if you pre-order and buy from GameStop, you get to play as the Red Hood and get to access his story missions, which is another character and another set of narrative missions locked out behind a paywall. And then if you go to Best Buy, you get the Wayne Tech Booster Pack, which includes Explosive Gel Takedown, which you can set traps to knock enemies out remotely, Aerial Juggle, strike enemies in mid-air for massive damage, weapon upgrades, increase the devastating firepower of the Batmobile, and Batarangs while gliding, where you can launch multiple Batarangs while in mid-air. So does that say to me, I won't be able to get that in the game without buying from Best Buy? So are you saying that I can't use Batarangs while gliding unless I buy from Best Buy? Because that is a game mechanic. You're locking a game mechanic behind a retailer exclusive DLC. That is so anti-consumer, it's ridiculous. But let's get on to the end of the list. So we have Walmart exclusive, 4 exclusive challenge maps to play as Harley Quinn, and a unique Batmobile that includes exclusive gameplay features. Exclusive gameplay features. That means that's game mechanics, again, locked behind a retailer exclusive paywall. That is so mind-blowingly bad. You have the Steam exclusive, which is not too bad actually. The Steam exclusive specifically is skin packs, which is something that I like. That's fine. I don't care about cosmetics. If you want to put cosmetic skins as retailer exclusive, do. I don't care. I don't need cosmetics. But putting characters, story missions, and gameplay mechanics behind pre-order paywalls is utterly absurd. And then you have the limited and Batmobile editions, which again aren't particularly bad. It's just a technically case of, an art book, a comic book, skin packs, whatever. That's fine by me. You also have the PS4 exclusive DLC, which is the Scarecrow Nightmare DLC pack, which I assume, I'm not entirely sure what that is. I doubt it's going to be a character. I think that's probably challenge maps or something. But this whole thing is utterly ridiculous. And it is so anti-consumer. I am so tired of the DLC bullshit that goes on in this industry. How they can just it's utterly reprehensible. It's not DLC. This is not DLC. What you are doing is you are changing a $60 release title into something that is going to cost consumers $80 plus. Now you're doing that by, one, you are putting a season pass in there, which season passes so-so. They can be exploited, but they can be okay. But at the end of the day, you're making people pre-order your game, and then if you don't pre-order, I mean, it doesn't matter. In the case of Batman Arkham Knight, it doesn't matter where you get it. It doesn't matter if you pre-order it from Steam. It doesn't matter if you get it from Best Buy. It doesn't matter if you get it from Walmart. Either way, you're going to come away with an incomplete product. That is utterly anti-consumer. It is cynical and it is disgusting. And I think that it is one of these cases that it just shows. I mean, ultimately, Warner Brothers and Arkham Knight isn't the cause of this. The cause of this is ultimately it's a trend. It is a growing trend in the industry that needs to be stamped out immediately, and the only way to do that is for consumers not to buy the products. But this is a clear case of where I would say to people, don't buy Batman Arkham Knight. Will I buy it? Don't know. Well, I mean, it goes against the case. Here's the thing, though. If I buy it to review it, say, for the channel, does that then mean that it's going to get a bad review score? Because I'm already biased towards this now, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where I get the game to review it, I'm going to be unhappy in the sense that I'm already playing an incomplete product. So that tarnishes my perception of the game already, because the game, in terms of what I actually get to play, could be great, but I'm not getting the full game. And I think that it's just totally disgusting. And it's something that is continually happening across the board, particularly with AAAs. It is a way to artificially gain pre-orders and ultimately more income from a game that way, and it shouldn't be happening. Ultimately, I have no problem with DLC. DLC as a theory is fine. In practice, though, it is highly exploitable, and they do it. They highly exploit it. You know, it's been shown time and time again, and it's something that DLC should be about. Creating content after the core game has been made, after the core game has been launched, to give gamers more of what they love to play. It doesn't matter, even if you want to do expansions, if you want to do just cosmetics, fine. If you want to create DLC, I have no problem with that. Create it after the game's launched, though. Don't create a game and then chop it up and section it off behind paywalls so that you have to entice me to pre-order it from a specific retailer. You know, the fact that you're enticing me to pre-order at all pisses me off, but then trying to make me purchase that pre-order from a specific retailer is even worse. I don't want to go to GameStop and pre-order the game. I don't want to pre-order the game. What I actually want to do is just buy the complete game when it releases on Steam. That's what I want to do. Why do I have to go through all these hoops to get a complete game? And in the case of Arkham Knight, you can't. You're always going to be missing something. Now, in the case of Arkham Knight, you tend to get, particularly in the Arkham series, and in most games overall that have a lot of DLC entwined, you tend to get complete editions maybe a year or so after the game's launched for a way to entice people who didn't buy it to buy it. And those complete editions usually come with all the DLCs. But again, why should I have to wait a year for a complete edition? Why can't I just buy the complete edition at launch? It's ridiculous. It is just totally wrong. And it does nothing other than to create animosity between you as the publisher and as the retailer and we as the consumers. And it is something that I don't understand why you do it, because it clearly does not pay off. Because at the end of the day, pre-orders across the board, if you look at the statistics, pre-orders across the board are down. You look, you know, even big major AAA titles are struggling with pre-orders. They're only getting, you know, if a game, you know, you look at some of the more biggest games to come out, and you think, well, how much are they actually going to sell? They'll probably sell 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 million copies across the board. And you actually look at the pre-order stats of some of those games, and less than 100,000 people have pre-ordered. So that's a percentage of the actual final sales of the game. And so it clearly shows that people aren't interested in pre-order anymore, and doing things like this, putting content behind retailer exclusive, which, by the way, the majority of retailers, particularly games retailers, are now irrelevant, particularly in PC gaming. They are irrelevant, and I do not like being forced to go to a retailer that I don't want to go to purchase a game just to be able to experience the full content of the original product. It is wrong. It is disgusting, and I am so tired of publishers doing this. And it's just something that we as the consumer base need to call out. That, you know, we need to call them out on this. And ultimately, it comes down to money talks, right? No matter how much you bitch about them on Twitter, Facebook, any social media, no matter how many angry letters you send, no how many customer complaints they get through customer service, ultimately, money is the biggest decision maker. And if you stop buying their game, they're going to change things. And that is the case with not only Arkham Knight, but it is the case across the board with publishers and especially AAA titles. Don't buy their stuff, they'll change it. And that's the way it's always been. And the problem is, as particularly with the games industry, is that it's difficult for people, the average consumer, not to buy the game, because at the end of the day, they want to play the game. You know, they're excited for a new Batman game. Who wouldn't be? Batman games, especially the Arkham series, has been fantastic. Rocksteady in particular with the Arkham series has been fantastic. And it's kind of, they've got you over a barrel in some respects, because they know you want to buy the game, so they're going to make sure that you pay to buy that game, which is just wrong. It's just utterly wrong. And in the contrast, you've got people like CD Projekt Red with The Witcher 3 offering, 16 free DLCs. And yes, a lot of it is just cosmetic stuff, like the beards and the hairstyles and free costumes for Yennefer, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, it's still free, and free's better than nothing. And they've got 16 free DLCs, and then you have a season pass for two big expansions, which are like 30 hours each, which again is like a full game. So I can't, you can't say, well, they're only giving skins away. It's more than bloody Warner Brothers, Square Enix, EA do when it comes to even cosmetic DLC. It's more than they do. They don't give away shit for free, never. And it's just something that is just totally disgusting. And I can't believe they still, in this day and age, get away with it. Still get away with it. And it's just something that it's time for consumers to really speak out, particularly in the case of Arkham Knight at Warner Brothers, and say, do you know what, this is just not okay. This is not okay. Because if you produce a great game, the Witcher series has proved this. Again, the Witcher series has proved this. If you treat your customers right, they will keep coming back. And the Witcher series has proved this because the game, from every installment, has sold better than the last. And they've done, and it's something that it creates a good trust between the customer and the publisher or the provider, the developer, and it's something that's more important, because at the end of the day, there are some companies out there who understand that customer loyalty, you treat your customers right, they keep coming back for each one of your games, that's going to benefit you, particularly financially, more on a larger scale in the long term than a simple short-term gain for exploiting DLC, and that is just the case all round. And it's just, as like I say, people need to really start putting money where their mouths is and just not buy these games, because it is just utterly disgusting how they've chopped content up over and over again, so you're just getting a remnant of what the original product was often. And particularly what's disgusting about Arkham Knight is that they're putting gameplay mechanics behind there. They're putting actual gameplay mechanics behind retailer exclusives and pre-order DLCs, and it's just utter DLC bullshit. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Do like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.